The betrayal. Hook. In the grand chambers of the Galactic Council, a meeting was taking place. The high-ranking members of the most powerful intergalactic civilizations were gathered together, seated around a massive, circular table. The room was filled with an air of tension. Representatives of hundreds of planets and species were debating, discussing, and deciding the fate of the galaxy. The Galactic Council was supposed to be the ultimate force for peace and cooperation in the universe, a governing body designed to maintain order among the stars. Yet beneath the surface, the reality was far different. Politics, power, and control ruled the Council, and not everyone shared the same vision of peace. Among the Council members, there were whispers of resentment. Humanity's rapid rise to power had become a threat to some. Human colonies were expanding faster than anyone had anticipated. Their technology was advancing at an alarming rate. Some saw the humans as a challenge to their long-established dominance. The Council had debated humanity's place in the galaxy for months. Some were in favor of an alliance, recognizing the potential of humans as powerful allies. Others, however, felt that humanity was a threat that needed to be eliminated before they could pose any more danger. Among those who believed humanity needed to be neutralized was the Sinorian representative, a tall, reptilian alien named Vorak. His species had long ruled over vast stretches of space, and he feared that humanity's rapid growth could someday challenge their supremacy. Vorak leaned forward, his sharp eyes narrowing as he addressed the Council. Humanity is too dangerous to be allowed to grow unchecked. Their military strength, their technological advances, they could soon surpass us all. We must act now before they become too powerful. He turned to the rest of the Council, his voice cold and menacing. We've been watching them for years. Their technology is nearly on par with ours. If we wait too long, they will have the power to destroy us. There was a murmur around the table, some agreeing with Vorak's words, others looking uneasy. The Council had always valued peace, but the thought of a rising human empire was something they couldn't ignore. The Council's leader, a wise and ancient being named Thaurian, had always advocated for diplomacy and peaceful resolution. But even he seemed troubled by the recent developments. "I understand your concerns, Vorak," Thaurian said slowly, his voice deep and commanding. "But we cannot simply eliminate humanity. The cost of such an action would be unimaginable. We must find another way." Vorak was relentless. And what if another way doesn't exist? What if they refuse to be controlled? We've already seen signs of their defiance. If we wait, it will be too late. Thaurian hesitated, his ancient mind weighing the options. But before he could speak further, the voice cut through the room, sharp and confident. It was Vanna, the representative from the Vezari system. She was known for her strategic mind and her ruthlessness in political matters. "We don't need to eliminate humanity," Vanna said, her eyes glinting with calculation. "We need to eliminate their leaders. The humans are only as strong as their commanders. If we take out their military leadership, we cripple them." There was a long pause. The idea was dangerous, but it made sense. Striking at the heart of humanity's power would weaken their resolve. The Council members exchanged uncertain glances, weighing the risks. Vorak's reptilian mouth curled into a smile. "That's exactly what I was thinking. If we take down their command structure, they will be nothing but a disorganized force, easy to defeat." Thaurian's eyes narrowed, sensing something was wrong. He had been in countless meetings, but something about this plan felt off. The Galactic Council was supposed to protect the galaxy from destruction, not orchestrate it. But his doubts were drowned out by the growing support in the room. The vote was swift, and before long, it was decided. Humanity would be dealt with. A covert operation was planned. A few key human military leaders would be assassinated, and their military outposts targeted in a surprise attack. The Council believed that this would be enough to cripple humanity's military power and send a message: do not challenge the Galactic Empire. But what the Council didn't know, what they could never have anticipated, was the human response. They thought humanity was weak, divided, and incapable of fighting back against the might of the Galactic Empire. They were wrong. The operation was carried out swiftly. The first strike against humanity came without warning. Ships descended from the skies, targeting military bases and commanders, leaving devastation in their wake. Thousands of humans perished in the initial wave, but there was one thing the Council had overlooked: the spirit of humanity. On Earth, in the heart of the human military, a lone commander stood in the command center, watching the destruction unfold on the screens before him. General Michael Hayes, a man who had seen countless battles, felt a fire ignite within him. This was no ordinary attack. This was a declaration of war, a betrayal of humanity's trust in the Galactic Council. "Alert all fleets," he commanded, his voice steady, but filled with an undeniable anger. "We've been betrayed. Prepare for counterattack. It's time to show the galaxy what humanity is capable of." The Council had made a grave mistake. They had underestimated the resilience of humanity. And now, as the first waves of human ships began to rally, the Galactic Empire would feel the fury of those they had wronged. The war for the galaxy had just begun. The counterattack, suspense. The human response was immediate. General Michael Hayes had given the command, and within moments, the military channels buzzed to life. All across Earth, military officers scrambled to organize their forces. The fleets that had been lying dormant, awaiting orders, were now on high alert. In the depths of Earth's military stronghold, underground command centers buzzed with the sound of communication as humans geared up for the war that had just begun. Far beyond Earth, in the cold void of space, the fleet of the Galactic Empire was preparing to deliver the next blow. The initial strike had left humanity reeling, but now, the Empire's forces were ready to crush them completely. The Galactic Council believed their plan would swiftly dismantle the human military infrastructure. They thought that taking out the key leaders and military outposts would reduce humanity to chaos, leaving them vulnerable and unorganized. But they hadn't accounted for one thing: humanity's sheer determination. General Hayes stood at the command center of Earth's largest battleship, the Vanguard. His eyes were fixed on the galaxy map displayed before him, showing the exact locations of the Empire's fleet. His face was grim but resolute. He had witnessed many battles, but this was different. The Council's betrayal was a declaration of war, and humanity would respond with everything it had. "Prepare all fleets for battle," Hayes ordered. "We strike back tonight." It wasn't just the military leaders or the fleet commanders that felt the weight of the betrayal. Ordinary people across Earth and the colonies were galvanized by the news. In homes, in factories, in civilian spaces, people stopped what they were doing and looked up to the stars. Their world had just been attacked by a force they thought they could trust. It wasn't just the military's fight anymore. It was the fight of every human being in the galaxy. As the Vanguard launched into space, it was soon joined by several other human ships, each armed to the teeth with advanced weaponry. The humans had a secret weapon: their adaptability. Over the past century, humanity had been rapidly advancing in military technology, adapting alien technologies and improving upon them. The Galactic Empire had never faced an adversary that could evolve and innovate at such a pace. The humans had made alliances with a few trusted species, some who had grown wary of the Empire's increasing power. Now those alliances would come to play. "We won't let them get away with this," General Hayes said to his crew, his voice laced with anger. "Every human who was killed, every child lost, will be avenged. We will make them regret underestimating us." The first target was a major space station on the edge of the Galactic Empire's territory, a crucial stronghold in the Empire's defense grid. The humans knew that if they could take down this station, it would create a ripple effect, disrupting the Empire's communications and giving them a chance to weaken the enemy's lines. The assault was swift and brutal, executed with precision and coordinated efforts from every human ship. For the Galactic Empire, the attack was a shock. They had expected disorganization, fear, and retreat. Instead, they found themselves facing a human counterattack like no other. Their forces were caught off guard, struggling to respond to the speed and agility of the human ships. The humans had learned how to fight with relentless determination, and they had no intention of backing down. Back on the bridge of the Vanguard, General Hayes received a report from his lead pilot. "We've successfully breached the station's defenses, General. We're on the offensive now." A sense of quiet triumph spread across the command center, but Hayes remained focused. "This is just the beginning. We've got to keep pushing. They'll retaliate, and when they do, we'll be ready." Despite their success, the humans knew that this was far from over. The Galactic Empire was a powerful foe, and they would not be defeated easily. The Council's forces were massive, their fleets vast and armed with devastating weapons. But humanity was not about to let that stop them. Across the galaxy, as the Vanguard and other human ships pressed their attack, the Council scrambled to respond. They had underestimated the humans, believing that they were just a fleeting threat. Now they realized the truth. Humanity was not only resilient but capable of extraordinary things when cornered. And the galaxy was about to witness the fury of a species that had nothing left to lose. The stage was set. Both sides were preparing for the war that would change the fate of the galaxy. Would humanity's defiance be enough to defeat the Galactic Empire, or would they be crushed under the weight of its overwhelming power? Only time would tell. The war had begun, and neither side was going to back down. The stakes had never been higher, and the universe would never be the same again. The Empire strikes back. The humans had struck hard and fast, catching the Galactic Empire off guard. But the Empire was not an enemy to be underestimated. As the initial shock of humanity's retaliatory strike wore off, the Empire's forces regrouped, preparing to retaliate with a vengeance. The stakes had just escalated to a whole new level. In the war room of the Galactic Empire's flagship, the Sovereign, Commander Walter surveyed the battlefield. His face was stern, a mixture of anger and determination. The humans had given them a bloody nose, and now it was time to show them the true might of the Empire. "The humans are more resilient than we thought," Commander Walter muttered under his breath, staring at the holographic map displaying humanity's newfound fleet. "But they made one mistake, underestimating us. We will crush them." He turned to his officers, giving out swift commands. The Empire had lost a few ships, but they were not the only ones with powerful weapons. The galaxy had seen what the humans were capable of, but now it was time to remind them who the true rulers of the stars were. "Prepare the supernova cannons," Walter ordered. "We'll make an example of these humans and show them that no one, no matter how stubborn, can stand against the might of the Galactic Empire." The supernova cannons were a weapon of mass destruction, capable of obliterating entire fleets in a single shot. The Empire had used them only once, and the galaxy had witnessed their devastating power. This time, they would use it to punish the humans for their audacity in challenging the Empire's dominance. Back on Earth, General Hayes and his team were fully aware of the threat the Empire posed. The humans' first successful counterstrike had given them hope, but they knew the war was far from over. They had hit one of the Empire's outer stations, but now they would face retaliation on a scale they had never imagined. "The Empire won't take this lying down," Hayes said, pacing in front of his team of officers. "They'll come for us with everything they've got." "We're ready for them, sir," Captain Jenkins responded confidently. "We've gathered intel on their fleet movements. They're positioning themselves for a major counterattack. We need to be prepared." "We'll be ready," Hayes replied. "But I want to make one thing clear to everyone. We're fighting for more than just our survival now. We're fighting for our future. We're fighting to prove that humanity won't back down, no matter who tries to crush us." As Hayes spoke, the humans were preparing for the worst. Their ships were fortified, their weapons primed, and their resolve stronger than ever. The earlier successes had energized them, but the looming threat of the Empire's full wrath cast a dark shadow over their optimism. The human fleet had been built from scratch, using technology both stolen and innovated. The Empire, on the other hand, had millennia of experience and resources at their disposal. This was no longer a war of tactics and strategies. It was a fight for survival, for the future of humankind. The Empire's counterattack came sooner than expected. A fleet of thousands of ships, led by the Sovereign, entered the solar system, its massive warships ready to unleash their deadly firepower. The humans, knowing they couldn't match the Empire's sheer numbers, had a new plan. They would fight with every advantage they had: speed, surprise, and sheer ingenuity. As the battle erupted in space, human ships darted across the battlefield, weaving through the Empire's ships with agility and precision. The humans were using the Empire's own tactics against them, attacking key weak points and retreating before the Empire could strike back. It was a dance of destruction, with each side trying to outwit the other. But the Empire wasn't going to allow this to continue. The supernova cannons fired, sending beams of energy so intense they ripped through space itself, cutting down entire sections of human ships in an instant. The humans had managed to avoid some of the shots, but the Empire's weapons were too powerful to dodge forever. The battle was becoming a desperate struggle for survival. On the Vanguard, General Hayes could see the destruction unfolding before him. The human fleet was taking heavy losses, and the Empire's supernova cannons were wreaking havoc, but Hayes refused to give up. He knew that humanity's strength wasn't just in its weapons, it was in its spirit. The Empire could kill their ships, destroy their technology, but they could never break the will of the human race. "Get us in close," Hayes ordered. "We can't keep running forever. We need to take out their lead ship, the Sovereign. If we can destroy that flagship, it'll cripple their command structure." Captain Jenkins nodded and issued the orders. The human ships moved in close to the Sovereign, using the chaos of the battle as cover. It was a bold move, and one that could end in disaster, but the humans had nothing left to lose. As the Vanguard closed the distance, Hayes gripped the armrests of his chair, his heart pounding in his chest. This was their last chance. If they failed here, humanity would be lost. But just as the human fleet prepared to launch its final strike, something unexpected happened. The very fabric of space itself seemed to ripple as a new force entered the battlefield. An unknown ally, one that might tip the scales in favor of humanity. "What is that?" Captain Jenkins shouted, pointing to a sudden blip on the radar. "It's not one of ours," Hayes muttered. "I don't care who they are, as long as they're on our side." As the unknown ships moved toward the Empire's forces, they unleashed a torrent of firepower, forcing the Empire to split its forces and focus on this new threat. The unexpected arrival of an ally was just the opening humanity needed. They struck the Sovereign with everything they had, sending the flagship into chaos. The tide was beginning to turn, but the battle was far from over. The Galactic Empire would not surrender easily, and humanity still had a long fight ahead. But for the first time in this war, the Empire was on the back foot, and the humans were not alone. The unexpected ally. The unexpected arrival of the new fleet had shifted the balance of power in the battle. The Empire's flagship, the Sovereign, was no longer the only threat on the battlefield. The new fleet was unlike anything the humans had seen before. An assortment of ships, sleek and agile, painted with strange symbols and technology far beyond what humanity had developed. They cut through the Empire's defenses with precision, as though they had fought alongside the humans for years. General Hayes watched the display on the screen with wide eyes. "Who are these people?" he muttered. "Where did they come from?" "It doesn't matter, sir," Captain Jenkins replied, her voice firm. "They're fighting with us. That's all that matters." The new fleet's ships fired on the Empire's vessels with relentless fury, cutting through their defensive lines and leaving trails of explosions in their wake. The humans took advantage of the distraction, regrouping and reorganizing their forces. This was their moment. The Empire was faltering, and they had to strike while they still had the element of surprise. "Commander Walter won't stand for this," Hayes said, his eyes narrowing. He had no doubt that the Galactic Empire would quickly adapt, and the presence of this unknown fleet would only make them more dangerous. "We need to make our move now, before they regroup." The human fleet, empowered by the appearance of their mysterious ally, surged forward, ready to finish what they had started. Ships darted in and out of the fray, striking at Empire ships with well-placed shots, while others focused on disabling the Empire's supernova cannons. But as the humans pushed forward, the Empire retaliated. Walter was a master tactician. He had seen the tide of battle shift in the humans' favor, and now he was prepared to counter their every move. He knew that the arrival of this new fleet was a game-changer, but he also understood the Empire's strength. He wasn't going to lose to a ragtag group of rebels, no matter who their allies were. "Send out the reinforcements," Walter commanded coldly. "It's time to crush this rebellion once and for all." As the Empire called in more reinforcements, the battle grew even fiercer. The new fleet seemed to hold its ground for now, but the Empire's numbers were overwhelming. With every passing minute, the humans found themselves facing a tougher and tougher challenge. Meanwhile, the new fleet continued to engage the Empire, but they were not without losses. Ships from the mysterious fleet began to fall, their strange technology failing against the overwhelming firepower of the Empire's warships. It was a bitter reminder of the price of war. "We can't let them fall," General Hayes said, his voice filled with determination. "If this new fleet falls, we'll have nothing left. We'll have to face the Empire alone." Captain Jenkins nodded. "We've lost too many ships already. We can't let the Empire crush us again." The humans and their new allies fought with everything they had, but it was clear that the battle was not going to be won easily. The stakes had risen to unimaginable heights. The fate of humanity, the mysterious fleet, and the galaxy itself now hung in the balance. But no one was willing to give up just yet. On the Empire's side, Commander Walter was growing frustrated. He had not expected the humans to be so resilient, nor had he anticipated this unknown fleet showing up out of nowhere. His forces were stretched thin, and it seemed like every time he gained an advantage, the humans and their mysterious allies found a way to strike back. "This will not stand," Walter growled. "We will crush them. We will show these so-called rebels that the Empire cannot be defeated." He turned to his lieutenant, who stood anxiously at his side. "Prepare the final assault. We will end this battle once and for all." The lieutenant nodded, fear and determination in his eyes. "Yes, sir. The final assault will break them." The final assault was the Empire's most devastating tactic, a concentrated barrage of firepower designed to obliterate all resistance in its path. It was a move of desperation, but one that could bring an end to the conflict. Walter knew that once the humans and their allies had been crushed, the galaxy would return to the Empire's control, as it always had. Back on Earth, General Hayes received the troubling news. The Empire was preparing something far worse than the supernova cannons, something that could potentially wipe out their fleet in a single blow. Time was running out, and the humans and their mysterious allies needed to act fast if they were to survive. "We have to stop them," Hayes said, his voice full of resolve. "We can't let them unleash this final assault." Captain Jenkins looked at the display, her face grim. "We'll fight until the last ship is standing. We have no choice." With every passing second, the battle escalated. The humans, along with their mysterious allies, knew that their time was running out. They had to act fast or face total annihilation. But even as the battle seemed to reach its climax, there was still hope. Humanity had fought too hard and too long to give up now. The arrival of the unknown fleet had given humanity the edge they needed. But with the Empire's final assault looming, the stage was set for a final, all-out battle that would determine the fate of the galaxy. Would humanity and their newfound allies overcome the Empire's might, or would the Galactic Empire prove that their reign of terror was far from over? The answer to that question would come in the next explosive chapter of this intergalactic war. The final assault begins. The tension in the air was palpable. Every ship in the human fleet, along with the mysterious allies who had come to their aid, was on high alert. A storm was brewing in the depths of space. The Empire's final assault had begun, and it was unlike anything humanity had ever faced. The enemy fleet, now massive and well-coordinated, formed a giant wall of firepower, slowly closing in on the human forces. Their movements were calculated, deliberate, as though every shot they fired was planned years in advance. General Hayes knew this would be their toughest challenge yet. On the Sovereign, Walter stood before the large holographic display, watching as the Empire's ships moved into position. He was calm, almost detached. For him, this was just another battle, a battle he intended to win decisively. "This is the end of their rebellion," Walter muttered to himself. He turned to his officers. "Give the order for the final assault. Do not leave a single human ship standing." On the human side, Captain Jenkins was at the helm of the flagship Protector, staring at the same holographic display, her face a mask of concentration. The weight of their situation hung heavy in the air. She could feel the eyes of her crew on her, waiting for her to lead them through this final test. "All ships, prepare for impact," she said, her voice steady but resolute. "We can't give up now. We fought too hard for this moment." General Hayes stood by her side, watching the Empire's fleet advance. "We have to stop them before they get too close. If we let them hit us with everything they've got, it will be over." The human fleet braced itself for the inevitable. Ships moved into battle formation, engines roaring to life as they aligned for the final confrontation. The mysterious allies, who had joined the battle just days ago, joined the humans in lockstep. Their ships were unlike any the Empire had seen, and though they had taken losses, their resolve remained unshaken. The first wave of the Empire's final assault came faster than anyone could have predicted. A barrage of energy blasts and missiles filled the void, turning space itself into a deadly, blinding storm. Human ships scattered to avoid the deadly rain of fire. The fleet was fast, nimble, but even they could not avoid all the incoming strikes. "Deploy countermeasures," Captain Jenkins ordered, her eyes scanning the screen. "Evasive maneuvers, now." The Protector veered sharply, dodging a salvo of blasts that would have torn through its hull. But it wasn't enough to avoid all the hits. An explosion rocked the ship, sending tremors through the crew. Captain Jenkins held her ground, determined to keep her ship in the fight. "We can't hold them off forever," a crew member shouted. "We need backup now." Just as the situation seemed bleak, the mysterious fleet sprang into action, using their strange technology to absorb the Empire's firepower. Their ships, while not invulnerable, managed to withstand direct hits that would have obliterated any other vessel. The Empire's attacks bounced off their energy shields, deflecting the blasts with an almost unnatural grace. "This is our moment," General Hayes said, seizing the opportunity. "While they're distracted by the unknown fleet, we need to hit them hard." He gave the order for a counterattack. The human fleet, using every ounce of skill and strategy at their disposal, launched a full offensive against the Empire. The battle turned into a chaotic, high-speed chase as the two forces engaged in a deadly game of cat and mouse. Every ship, every pilot, was pushed to their limits. Meanwhile, on the Empire's flagship, Walter gritted his teeth in frustration. His fleet was supposed to be unstoppable. Yet the humans, along with their new allies, had proven more resilient than he could have ever imagined. "Reinforce the right flank. Don't let them break through," Walter shouted to his commanders. But even with reinforcements pouring in, it wasn't enough. The humans were fighting back with a ferocity that had taken Walter by surprise. The new fleet, though mysterious and unfamiliar, was proving to be a wild card that the Empire could not easily overcome. Just as the battle seemed to reach a fever pitch, the mysterious fleet unleashed their secret weapon, a massive energy pulse that radiated outward, disrupting the Empire's communications and disabling many of their ship's weapon systems. The Empire's fleet staggered. For a brief moment, the human fleet had the upper hand. The mysterious ships darted in and out of the chaos, picking off targets with precision. The humans pressed their advantage, launching a series of well-placed strikes at the Empire's weak points. "Now's our chance," shouted Captain Jenkins, her voice filled with excitement. "All ships, engage at full force. We push forward, no retreat." The human fleet, now invigorated by their newfound strength, surged forward. They fought with a renewed determination, their ships cutting through the Empire's ranks, leaving destruction in their wake. Walter watched the chaos unfold, his mind racing. This can't be happening," he muttered, his fists clenched. "We will crush them. The Empire does not lose." But deep down, Walter knew that the tides were turning. The humans and their mysterious allies had proven that they were not to be underestimated. Despite the overwhelming power of the Empire, it was clear that the final victory was no longer certain. As the battle raged on, both sides pushed forward, unwilling to relent. The fate of the galaxy hung in the balance, and neither side was willing to let go of the fight. Would the Empire manage to rally and win this battle? Or would humanity, with the help of their unexpected allies, emerge victorious? The answer to this question would come in the final, heart-stopping moments of the battle. The Empire's last stand. The chaos of the battlefield continued to escalate. The once unshakable Empire fleet, now reeling from the sudden resurgence of human resolve, and their powerful allies, scrambled to regroup. The once pristine warships of the Empire now looked battered and disoriented as they struggled to maintain control in the face of an all-out assault. General Hayes stood firm on the bridge of the Sovereign, watching as his forces pushed the Empire's fleet further into retreat. He had always been a man of strategy, and now his mind raced through dozens of possible outcomes. His fleet had the advantage, but he knew that the Empire would not go down without a fight. "Do not let up, soldiers," Hayes ordered, his voice cold and commanding. "We break them now, or we lose everything." His words rang true. The momentum had shifted, but the war was far from over. The Empire's forces were now divided, and their battle lines were crumbling under the pressure. But Walter, the leader of the Empire, was not one to accept defeat so easily. He would not allow his empire to fall to what he saw as insignificant beings. "We will make our final stand here," Walter announced to his commanders, his voice a low growl of determination. "If we are to die, we will die fighting. Prepare the fleet for a counterattack. Prepare the ultimate weapon." Back on the human side, Captain Jenkins watched the unfolding scene through a screen, analyzing the enemy's movements. She knew that the Empire had one last card to play, something powerful enough to turn the tide in their favor. But she also knew that her crew and the mysterious fleet would not give up easily. "Watch for any unusual movements," she told her officers. "They're preparing something big, and we need to be ready." As the human ships closed in on the Empire's weakened formation, a new, terrifying energy pulse exploded from the heart of the Empire's fleet. It was an attack unlike anything they had seen before, an enormous blast of pure energy, so powerful that it disrupted the very fabric of space. For a moment, the stars themselves seemed to flicker and waver, as though the universe itself were shaking. The energy pulse slammed into the human fleet, tearing through shields and causing massive damage to several ships. Explosions rippled across the line, throwing debris and smoke into space. The shockwave reached even the mysterious fleet, pushing them back and forcing them to regroup. "Captain," one of the officers yelled, panic in his voice, "the enemy has deployed their final weapon. We've lost contact with several ships." Captain Jenkins gritted her teeth. The Empire had played its final card, and it had struck hard. But the humans had fought too long and too hard to let their victory slip through their fingers now. "Get our fleet back in formation," Jenkins barked. "We're not giving up this easily." We pushed through, no matter the cost. Despite the damage, the human fleet was still in the fight. The mysterious ships, though shaken, quickly recovered, their advanced technology repairing what was damaged. The human crews, despite being battered by the blast, showed incredible resolve. Their ships, though scared, were still operational. Prepare the counterattack. General Hayes ordered from his command post. We need to break their final line now. Every ship, all guns on target. Do it for Earth. The battle had entered its most critical phase. Both sides were on the brink of collapse, yet neither was willing to yield. The Empire had dealt a powerful blow, but it had also revealed a weakness. The final weapon had drained much of their power. The remaining Empire fleet was weaker now, their chances of holding their ground slipping away. In the midst of the chaos, the mysterious fleet made its move. With their advanced technology, they deployed a system that interfered with the Empire's ability to use their advanced weapon systems. The Empire's once mighty artillery now faltered, unable to lock onto their targets with any precision. It was a critical turning point. "We have them now," shouted General Hayes. "This is the moment. We finish them off." The human fleet pressed forward with renewed strength, their ships maneuvering through the remnants of the Empire's defense lines. The mysterious allies, faster and more agile, took the lead, darting between enemy ships and striking swiftly and decisively. It was a flawless display of tactical brilliance. For the first time, Walter's confidence faltered. His final weapon had failed, and his fleet was being torn apart. Desperation began to cloud his judgment as he watched his ships fall one by one. "We cannot lose," Walter said, his voice trembling with fury. "We will not be defeated by these humans." But even as Walter shouted orders, the finality of the situation was undeniable. The Empire was crumbling. Their once great fleet was now shattered, reduced to fragments of its former glory. Human ships moved in for the final strike, delivering blow after blow with precision and skill. The Empire's resistance was fading, and victory was finally within the grasp of humanity. "All ships," General Hayes ordered, his voice filled with triumph. "Target their flagship. Let's end this." The human fleet, alongside their mysterious allies, launched a concentrated attack on the Empire's flagship. Missiles, energy blasts, and laser fire filled the air as the flagship's shields began to buckle under the sustained assault. Walter watched helplessly as his flagship, the symbol of the Empire's power, began to fall. His eyes burned with rage as his once proud fleet disintegrated around him. The humans had not only held their ground, they had triumphed. "I will not die here," Walter muttered, his voice low and filled with dread. "We'll see about that." With one final explosion, the Empire's flagship was destroyed, signaling the complete collapse of the Empire's forces. The remnants of their fleet scattered into the void, defeated. The battle was over. Humanity, with the help of their mysterious allies, had won. The price of victory. The last of the Empire's forces had scattered into the void, defeated, their once mighty fleet reduced to debris. The victory was undeniable, but the cost had been high. The human fleet, though victorious, was battered and scarred. The mysterious fleet, who had played a pivotal role in the battle, also showed signs of wear, though their advanced technology allowed them to recover swiftly. General Hayes stood on the bridge of the Sovereign, looking out over the quiet aftermath of the battle. The silence that followed the chaos felt surreal. The stars that had once been a backdrop to the raging war now seemed calm, as though the universe itself was holding its breath. "General," Captain Jenkins said, her voice soft as she approached him. "We did it. We won." Hayes nodded, but there was no sense of triumph in his expression. He had led his fleet to victory, yes, but at what cost? The memory of the explosion that had taken down their ships still lingered in his mind, and he knew that many lives had been lost in the battle. Many sacrifices had been made. "Yes, we did," Hayes replied, his tone somber, "but not without a price. We've lost good men and women today. The crew of the Sovereign and the other ships were working hard to assess the damage. Some were already preparing for repairs, while others mourned their fallen comrades. The human fleet had fought bravely, but the war had left scars that would take years to heal. As Hayes stood, looking out into the stars, a message came through on the communications channel. It was from the mysterious fleet that had come to their aid, their allies in the battle. The transmission was brief, but it carried weight. "You have proven yourselves worthy," the voice from the other fleet said. "The Galactic Empire underestimated your resolve. But remember, there are always those who seek to test the strength of a unified species. This is not the end, but a new beginning." The message cut off abruptly, leaving a sense of uncertainty in the air. The humans had won a great victory, but their mysterious allies had left them with a reminder. This was only the beginning. The galaxy was a vast and unpredictable place, and their victory over the Empire was only one chapter in a much larger story. "We'll be ready," General Hayes said quietly to himself. "Whatever comes next, we'll be ready." Captain Jenkins, sensing the resolve in his voice, stepped closer. "What now, sir? What's our next move?" Hayes took a deep breath. The war with the Empire had taken everything from them, but it had also brought humanity together like never before. There was no going back. They had proven their strength, and now they had the chance to shape their future. "We rebuild," Hayes said. "We take the lessons we've learned and make sure that humanity never forgets what we're capable of. The galaxy may have turned against us, but now they know. We will fight for our home. We will fight for Earth." Jenkins nodded, her expression firm. "And we'll be ready for anything." As the Sovereign drifted silently among the wreckage of the battle, the crew knew that the galaxy had changed forever. The Galactic Empire had been dealt a decisive blow, but there were still those who would seek to challenge humanity. They were not out of danger yet, but one thing was clear. Humanity had proven itself to be a force to be reckoned with. In the years to come, stories of this battle would be told across the stars, and the name humanity would echo in the halls of galactic power. The Galactic Empire had been brought to its knees, but the universe had just begun to understand the power of a united humanity. The war may have been over, but the journey was far from finished, and General Hayes, Captain Jenkins, and the rest of the human fleet stood ready to face whatever the future held. The price of victory had been steep, but humanity had earned its place in the galaxy.